I don't know what the second season is about, though, you know?
It's about the robots taking over the park.
So? They're robots.
Yeah, but they're like people robots.
Right. People robots.
Okay, here's the thing, though. It's like really good.
Right? I told you, once you get over the texture, it's actually...
What are you eating?
I want some. Move.
Ow, Tom!
Yeah, okay, so you know how last week was mostly about like marching across snow with dogs, and we did like a dog thing at the beginning?
I don't understand. This week's show is mostly about surviving by eating seal.
There it
meat.
is.
I
There
get
it
it.
is.
Okay, I get it now. I get it.
Where
I get
did
it.
you even go to?
Well, let me put it this way. If the aquarium calls, we're not here.
No, we are not. Seriously, though, it's really good.
Jesus
It's
Christ.
surprisingly good.
I hate it, and it always surprises me.
I still want some. I
Always
didn't get any.
surprises me.
You just save a plate?
I'm just
Smaller.
going to call the aquarium.
Well, I'll take the eyes.
I'll cut out the middleman and just call him.
Smaller than you think.
Hello and welcome to Citation Needed, the podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts. Because this is the internet, and that's how it works now. I'm Heath, and I'll be giggling every time someone says sexton. Ton. But I can't immature alone. I'm joined today by two men whose chronological age in no way matches their mental age, nor the scope of their mental illnesses. Tom and Eli.
As a man approaching 40, I have just one piece of advice if anyone thinking of doing the same. Quit while you're ahead. Even if you're not ahead, now is the time to quit. That's what
I tried, but the rope broke and the chair kind of broke.
Oh,
No help. I don't want to get into it. It's just...
Okay. Also joining us tonight, the only two humans born without having ever been children, whimsical or lighthearted, Noah and Cecil.
Hey, just because I was already smoking in 1977 doesn't mean I wasn't still a baby. The rules were different back then.
Yeah, and I'm so lighthearted, it's just 2 sizes too small is all.
That's how light it is.
All right, before we begin, in earnest. Amazing pun. Gonna pay off huge in a minute. That's right. But first, we need to pause and give you a warning.
God.
All right, so this show survives kind of like a group of exhausted explorers stranded on an ice floe, but not on seal meat, on the generosity of our patrons. Remember, without our patrons, we'd go hungry. And if we go hungry, we'll have to kill a seal. Just take a moment now and picture a baby seal in your mind. Isn't it cute? Adorable, big eyes, all fluffy. All right, now hold that image in your mind. We have to kill that little guy and eat it if you don't donate money. And if that happens, it's your fault.
It is.
Yeah.
Our patrons help save seals' lives. Super cute baby seals with like oversized lollipops. Those are the ones we're going to eat.
Straw
And if you'd
hats
like to
with
save-
ribbons.
If you'd like to save baby seals from being clubbed to death by Tom's clubby arms, be sure to stick around till the end of the show. With that out of the way, tell us, Cecil, you handed off the story to Tom before it was finished last week, so, okay, wait, why'd you do that again?
Because the story's too long to fit into a single episode. So we totally needed somebody to step in.
No, we all understand that, but why Tom?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, you see, Tom, he turned me on to this story. He had turned me on to a book because he already knew this story, and he probably wasn't going to fuck it up telling something he already knew, or at least it was the least amount of work that we could offer him, I guess is what I'm saying.
That makes sense. And Tom, we're hoping you refreshed your memory and read the article. Are you ready to pick up where Cecil left off and tell us the exciting conclusion to the story of Ernest Shackleton? Ernest, pun paid off, crush it. Ernest Shackleton and the Voyage of the James Caird. Go. Tom, go. Yeah, it's time for the essay. Tom, you go.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Sorry. All right. Just finishing this delicious seal meat. I need a lot more money. So much.
Okay. Just finish eating Eli's dog and then go ahead and begin.
You monster!
Yeah. It was
Very
I mean,
ethical
another
what
one of
he's
those. Those pugs are little.
How was the face on that? Was it good?
It was.
It's like a pug cheek. Did you braise that?
Yeah, you can, but I think they taste better when they're screaming.
Oh,
so you
yeah.
start
You start on the face.
on the face.
Yeah, I guess.
Right. Yeah, and you eat your way to the ass. That's
Hell yeah.
I mean, that's the best part.
That vestigial nose meat is nice too, though. The vestigial nose meat, it's super tender. It's like the claw.
It's like the veal of the face. It really is. Yeah.
It doesn't do any work.
It really is like the you could just taste how happy they used to be. Like the joy
Right?
adds to like the tears. I don't know. It's like its own salt. It's a marinade.
Yeah.
So when Cecil left off in episode 46, Ernest Shackleton and his not so merry band of intrepid ice hunters were stranded in the middle of the Southern Sea on Elephant Island. Now, Elephant Island, for those who don't remember the last episode, is a hopelessly shitty spit of uninhabited land that no one would ever even look for their bones on if they died there.
Okay. Now you're just reading the state slogan off an Indiana license plate.
You wouldn't think it would fit on there, but credit where it's due. And although there was an abundance of seals and penguins to eat, there was also an abundance of not fucking much else, including hope. And there was only one way to survive.
Start fucking seals and populate the island with the most adorable centaurs ever, human seal hybrids. Right?
Okay. All right. Two ways. They're not going alternate options. They didn't bring Dr. Moreau on there. So the real way was to be their own rescue and send a contingent of men to go get help.
Okay, fine. Plan B, whatever.
Sorry, get help from who? I'm guessing the penguin and seal unions weren't big fans at this point.
All right, so they decided to leave. They're going to go get help. They've got three options to shoot for, right? And none of their options are really worth much of a shit. But I guess after choking down 16 months of penguin meat and with constant blizzards constantly destroying their camp and the perils of another stranded Antarctic winter approaching, low odds looked a lot better than no odds.
Okay, and now you're reading the Alaska license plate. Write some jokes, man.
So the closest port was 540 miles away in the Falkland Islands, but that one was a no-go because the winds were working against that. A better option was Deception Island, which was uninhabited, but which had supplies, I know, right, for shipwrecked whalers and which was visited from time to time as need arose.
Okay, what supplies? It's going to have like an entire fleet of extra boats just sitting there like a take-a-penny dish on Deception Island?
They show up and they're just like, all there was a coal shovel. Boom.
Deception Island was troublesome to reach because of the wind situation as well, and there was really no guarantee that if they went there, that anybody would ever show up to help.
Yeah. Also, I mean, it's Deception Island. Of course they wouldn't.
So ultimately, they settled on the third option, which was trying to reach the whaling stations on South Georgia, which was 800 miles away.
Huh, just like Noah and Heath did.
No, that's different Georgia. Yep.
There was this one time I needed Serrano ham for a dish I was making, and the local Whole Foods didn't carry it, so I just walked to Spain. I was like, why chance that?
Boy, I'll tell you what, the story's gone to shit when South Georgia seems like a step up. And that works, by the way, for the island, the U.S. state, and the nation, by the way.
Did they declare their independence and become an island? I'm confused. I know very...
Wow. That's just amazing.
It's not.
It's amazing.
No, we're going to have to move
Just go ahead.
From that train wreck.
Just push through.
All right.
Always push through.
They decided they'd send 6 men in one of their tiny, shitty little life rafts to go get help. And of the 3 small boats, the James Caird was deemed most likely to survive the trip.
A seal of approval no one in our cast could ever hope to receive, it turns out.
No.
Right. But it's
Seal.
Heath, right? Like among us, I feel like it's Heath. I feel like Tom overdoes it on the first day and dies. And I killed myself the first day there was a wave. I was just like, take this, God, skloosh.
Well, no, if you went that early, then I think it would be Cecil.
All right, so the Caird was nominated as the escape vessel. And I want to pause here for a moment. I want to describe the James Caird to you guys, right? Like, this is not a big boat. So think about 800 miles. This is not a big boat. This is not an ocean-going vessel. And it was never intended to be an ocean-going vessel. There are pictures of this thing. And in fact, the actual boat is right now in a museum, and it is really fucking small. The whole thing is only 22 feet long. It was actually designed as a whaling ship. Like, and not like we got the whale, put it on this ship, but like there's a whale. We should use this little boat to go harass it until it quits and dies. That's the guy. So there's no way this thing was going to survive. And there's no way like the people in it were going to survive as it is. So Shackleton asked the shipbuilder to kind of like beef it up a bit, right? Except the shipbuilder didn't have any tools because, stranded. And so he had to improvise the tools themselves before scrounging for the materials before he could set to work.
Just turns to the shipbuilder. He's like, what tools? Burps up a T-square.
Fucking IKEA. Does anybody have like hexagonal figures by any chance? Or like a hex dick? Anything hexagonal?
One guy steps out of the crowd. Years of mockery, and now my hex dick pays off. Cartwheel.
Spin me.
So the shipbuilder, he does this. He sets to work. He did a hell of a lot of it, actually. He raised the sides of this little shitty boat significantly, and then he created an entire deck made of wood and canvas, and he sealed that deck with paint and seal blood.
Great history project with the kids, by the way, if you want to play along at home.
He took one of the masts from one of the other lifeboats to run the length of the boat to reinforce it from getting smashed into pieces. And then he transformed this shitty little boat into an actual sailboat called a ketch by creating and adding a main mast and a mizzen mast. And then they also added an actual ton, 2,000 pounds of ballast in the form of rocks on the bottom of the boat to keep it more stable in the water. And that was to make sure that it didn't, immediately fucking capsize.
These guys are just overthinking it. Just get a couple fat guys from Chicago to sit in the boat. There's no way the SS Polish sausage would tip.
They're just sailing across the ocean. Yeah, guys, thanks for keeping the boat steady, but can you tone the laughing down? It's a lot.
No. I don't get it. I don't understand that joke. Can you explain that joke to me? I don't get it. I don't understand.
So they've got the boat reinforced. They need some food in there. So they pack a month's worth of rations and a few extra clothes into the boat. Mostly just a bunch of shit that they'd scavenged from the original expedition. And they took a month's worth because, as Shackleton noted, if we don't make it to South Georgia Island in time, we're sure to go under.
The math they're doing here is amazing. It's like, okay, we're like 99% sure to die on this raft going 800 miles through the Antarctic. You guys are 100% certain to die on this island. How important is comfort while you definitely die? And we're going to use that figure. We'll figure out the pot odds.
So, all right. So they're going to set off, but a little bit about what they were expecting, because this is the beginning of winter in the roughest seas in the world, right? And their boat was built out of like spittle and desperation.
That also coincidentally is what a hotel room that Eli Bosnick stays in smells like.
Allegedly.
And they're expecting these crazy waves, right? These waves were known as Cape Horn rollers, and they measured from crest to trough 60 feet high. The winds that they're going to encounter are hurricane force. And you know why? Because fuck you. That's why.
All right. So, I mean, so far, this is Adventure Park with seal kebabs. I don't think it doesn't seem that bad.
So he had to have a crew for this little ship boat, right? So Shackleton selected Worsley as the navigator and Crean to come along on the voyage. And he asked the rest of the men for volunteers. And a lot of guys actually stepped up and volunteered. Now, he needed Worsley because the navigational impossibilities of this voyage were immense. And Crean was just tough as shit and had distinguished himself in some previous Antarctic expeditions. Shackleton ultimately chose McCarthy and Vincent, two strong sailors, and then the ship's carpenter, McNish. Although McNish was older than many of the guys at 41, he was chosen because he had a lot of knowledge of sailboats, and he was just a generally sharp guy.
Yeah. You're going to want some good knowledge and intellect there. That's important. Just like, hey, McNish, what's the name of this piece of wreckage I'm dying on over here in ice? Do you know? Yeah, that's the mizzen mast. Oh, nice. Cool, it's the mizzen mast. I'm really glad you're here. I'm glad you got picked, McNish. This is awesome. We picked well.
Okay, what weird kind of pre-selection is the through line of this story. It's like, who wants to go die in a boat on the ice? 8,000 people apply and one guy stows away. Okay, we're stranded. Who really wants to die?
Yeah, right.
Everybody raises their hand. It's like the opposite of signing people up for Patreon this trip. It's just like,
All right, well, I'm going to go out on a limb and guess this turned into something longer than a 3-hour tour. And as much as we'd like to all take a moment and fantasize about Marianne, we're going to pause instead for our favorite use of random music, a little segment we like to call Apropos of Nothing.
This week on Deception Island, Kimberly leaving changes everything.
after Kimberly got voted off the island last week, I'm not taking any chances. I will be safe this week.
Josh starts trouble.
I know. Quacky is Jennifer's favorite, but when he finds out that she and I made out in the hot tub, I think sparks are gonna fly.
I did not. Who told you that? Well, Josh is a fucking liar.
And Kimberly coming back to the island will change everything.
Oh my God, Kimberly, you're back?
Or.
This Thursday on Fox. This summer, experience the adventure of a lifetime.
Gentlemen, we will cross Antarctica. It's going to be dangerous, but I found the perfect person to lead the expedition.
Marky Mark is Ernest Shackleton.
Get your fucking coats.
When everyone wanted to quit,
Captain, the boat is stuck in the ice again.
Give me a fucking chisel.
he held them together.
Jesus fucking Christ. Fuck that. It's fucking cold. God. Oh, let's just stay here. Oh, God.
Captain, you were only outside for like 4 minutes.
Did I fucking ask you anything?
Through the heartbreak,
Captain, we have to kill all the animals.
Not Mrs. Chippy. No.
through their doubt,
It looks bleak, Captain.
It's pronounced beak, Boris.
No, it's not. Also, my name is Frank.
Whatever.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
one man could unite them.
I can't do it, Captain. We're all gonna die.
You listen to me. You get out there and you fucking punch that ice in the fucking balls. You hear me? You gotta punch it in the fucking balls.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't understand you.
Right in the balls.
This summer, cold cocked.
I beat up a Chinese guy out there.
Okay, so about this impending starvation thing, kind of stuck here.
Yeah, what's up?
All right, well, if I starve first, I want to make it clear up front that certain morsels would have been bigger if it wasn't so cold out, just so everybody knows.
Same here.
Yeah.
Same here.
Plus, I'll probably have just got out of the pool when I die. Knowing me, I like to swim in the cold water a lot.
Don't worry about it, Heath. Obviously, Noah is gonna die first.
Oh, good. That didn't be something to pick this seal meat out of my teeth with. That's
I
good.
can still hear over here.
Not
Yeah,
for long though. Not for long.
Just there you go. I still think the betting board was in bad taste, though. He can hear a little bit still.
Funny how you started thinking that when your square was next, though.
Okay, guys. One last try.
Eli, for the last time, we do not want to try your vegan survivalist menu.
Okay, let me at least tell you today's entrees.
Only because I am too weak at this point to strangle you.
You say that all the time. It's like our little fun catchphrase. Okay, so today we'll start with a beautiful icicle stew in a snow sauce. After that, we'll have some sleet loaf with a grapple glaze.
Okay, Eli, I'm sure even a vegan is allowed to eat meat at a time like this. We're stranded.
No, Heath, this is when you earn your true vegan stripes.
You're the worst.
You know, the calories you spend strangling him could be reclaimed.
You know what, Tom? No Tundra Taco Tuesday for you.
And we're back. When we left off, 6 dudes were getting into a canoe with a a stick and a bag, and planned to sail through a wall of ice so that they could go tell people where their friends died. And take it away, Tom.
Pretty much.
Not too far. The James Caird, great boat, launched from Elephant Island on April the 24th, 1916. Now, they set sail north to get free of the ice pack and then out into the open water. After the first night, they had sailed 45 miles into open ocean where they were met with force 9 winds, which I Googled, and that's 50-mile-an-hour winds.
Jesus.
The description, when I looked it up, said, "Oh my fucking God, we are going to die out here."
Just a shark with a chainsaw landing in the boat. Hey, have you guys seen that asshole from 90210? This is ridiculous.
Shackleton looks at the shark and says, "No, but I did see Patrick Swayze surf by about an hour ago."
Then Cancer with a chainsaw lands in the boat. Swayze, you say?
It's a bone saw. It's a bone saw. It's different.
All right, so Shackleton sets up a system of 2 3-man watches, right? 1 man at the helm to steer, 1 at the sails, and 1 to continuously bail water out of the boat.
Jesus Christ.
That's your job. The other 3 men rested below in the improvised deck, laying on top of the rocks they put in there for ballast, wet and shivering. That was the rest period.
Wow. It's kind of like the entire life of a pug.
I just imagine Shackleton going to the guy at the helm and saying, "Look, McCarthy, true or not, you don't have to yell 'we're fucked ho' every 5 minutes, okay?"
You want a status report or not, okay?
All right, so Worsley, the navigator, he had to do the work of figuring out where the fuck they were going, right? And so here's how this plays out. This boat is pitching and rolling in violent seas. They only saw brief flashes of sun, and Worsley had to use those brief sightings of the sun to determine their position. And by brief flashes of sun, I mean they didn't get a usable sighting of the sun for the first 2 days.
Wow.
They had traveled 128 miles at this point from Elephant Island.
My dad wouldn't even blinked if he didn't see a sun for 2 days. And I was 10 at the time.
That's so sad.
Then the weather got even worse, right? So finally, they're clear now of any of the protective ice pack that would have helped protect them against some of the weather. They're now in the Drake Passage. This is an area of water where their waves travel the entire globe unimpeded by land and also by tiny boats. The weather then got even worse, turning sharply colder. The boat was in constant danger of sinking. It was only kept afloat by a constant 24-hour bailing. And now because it had gotten so much colder, the sea spray was also now turning to ice on everything that it touched, right? So it's now weighing the boat down and threatening to sink it even more. The men had to climb out onto the pitching deck and chip the ice from the boat to keep it from sinking. Oh, and the men themselves were also now covered in ice.
Jesus.
I mean, like literally covered head to toe in actual ice.
Just taking full swings at each other's heads with an oar. Like, hey, do you feel that? Do you feel that? Still no? These ice helmets are the best. This is so fun.
Roger Goodell rises out of the water. There's no relationship between getting hit in the head with an ice oar. Those seals have a history.
And there's just one guy sliding around on the deck, and the other guys are brushing frantically in front of him.
All right, McNish, it was funny the first time, but stop using your goddamn Jon Snow voice, okay? Just chip the ice.
All right, so it's total shit out there, right? So they drop a sea anchor and they wait 2 days in the gale for the weather to improve. They're now 250 miles from South George Island. And a brief word on what measuring this distance involved, right? So Worsley's their navigator. In his efforts to use dead reckoning to guide the boat towards South Georgia Island, he had to be held in place by 2 other guys while he used his tools to sight the sun. 2 guys are gripping him and holding him from being pitched overboard while he's desperately using a sextant to sight the sun.
Yeah, he's like, really squeeze tight, guys. It's for the sun measurements. I swear.
So after 2 days, they pull the anchor, they set sail again, and then the weather gets even worse from here. Of this, Shackleton later wrote, "We felt our boat lifted and flung forward like a cork in breaking surf. The boat took on water at a rapid pace. It nearly capsized. Despite this, Worsley kept them more or less on target, although he confessed that he couldn't determine their position with accuracy more than 10 miles. And this was a real problem because if they missed their target, they'd be hopelessly swept out to sea.
Really? Okay, well, how are they describing their current situation? Are they not hopelessly swept out to sea right now?
They're hopefully swept out.
Yeah, right.
It's different. The hope is the piece that's okay. So Shackleton ordered them to change course to hit the uninhabited southwest side of South Georgia Island, knowing that their chances of hitting that side of the island, given the wind and waves, was much greater than hitting the, inhabited side.
All right. Well, I feel like Shackleton's just making shit up at this point. He's doing like fake calculus with a Sharpie on a sheet of ice, just yelling out random directions. Like, this is nonsense.
So now they make it within sight of South Georgia Island, which is kind of incredible because this is like almost 800 miles at this point, right? So they make it in sight of South Georgia Island. And then they get stuck in what was described as one of the worst hurricanes any of us had experienced. And I love the idea that they have other hurricanes here to compare that to.
Jesus.
And which they endured, lashed about by the winds in sight of land for more than 24 hours. So concerned that some of the weaker members of the crew would not survive another day at sea, Shackleton ordered that they make for land despite any hazards in doing so. And after several attempts, they made land on May the 10th. And remember, they left in this dinky ass fucking boat on April the 24th.
So much faster than I expected.
Shackleton described the journey as one of, quote, supreme strife, which I love.
The ocean had an obstinate character.
Historian Caroline Alexander comments, they could hardly have known or cared that in the carefully weighted judgment of authorities yet to come, the voyage of the James Caird would be ranked as one of the greatest boat journeys ever accomplished.
I feel like they maybe had an inkling, though.
Hey, where would you guys rank this boat trip? Shut the fuck up, Sammy. Nobody likes you. Who cares? Okay. I spy with my little ice. It's always ice. You're the worst. I fucking hate you.
All right, so they make it, but all is not well.
Wait, hold on. Someone was under the impression that all was well.
Right.
Hit that motherfucker with a boat oar.
Clearing that up, Tom.
All right. They make landfall, right? But again, it's on the uninhabited side of South Georgia Island. So, and two members of the crew were deeply unwell.
Oh, and the other four were well. Okay, yeah, no,
It's a relative.
Yeah.
Well, we're working on relative. So they get on the beach. They turn the boat over for shelter. And Shackleton, Worsley, and Crean begin the first ever crossing of the interior of South Georgia Island with no maps, across glaciers, and over a mountain range.
Another time, my phone died and I had to drive home from Whole Foods without GPS. These guys are not so great, okay? That's all I'm saying.
You're so brave.
I'm with Cecil on this. I'm just saying, if I shoot myself into space and it's hard to get back down, what am I proving? It's like, yeah, don't shoot yourself into space. Oh, at least we found that secret plant that cures cancer in Antarctica. What? No, there's just ice up there? Thanks. Exactly.
Up there. He said up there.
It's up. Directionally
up there.
It's up.
from where?
It's not up from anywhere.
We all know what I
From
am.
the
Polar orbit?
It's
the
up
most
from the
bottom.
planets that are under us. It's
All right, so the men trekked for 36 hours without pause across the interior of South Georgia Island.
Bullshit without pause. I call bullshit. They paused.
All right. They have no more mountaineering equipment other than pounded nails through their shoes to make kind of improvised ice cleat. And the journey across South Georgia Island has not been subsequently achieved.
I feel like no one's tried, though. I feel like
And I
everyone
feel
else
like-
had the sense not to
I
do
feel
this
like
shit.
everyone was smart about not trying because that's fucking stupid. Who cares?
And we're going to the inhabited side. Fuck that. So at one point, I love this. The guys, they climb up an entire mountain. They get to the top only to realize that there's no safe way down. So then they have to trek all the way back down the fucking mountain they just climbed with just shoes with nails in them and then find a new way back up. And having reached another peak, they realize that they're not going to survive the weather. Night is closing in on the trek down. And so they have to slip down, sliding on their asses down the side of the mountain, hoping to avoid careening into a boulder or like into an open crevasse.
One guy being all serious about it, but then like Sammy flies past him. Whee! snow cleats joust. Ow, stop, idiot. It's nails.
So they finally reached the whaling town of Stormness, appearing, quote, a terrible trio of scarecrows, dark with exposure, wind, frostbite, and accumulated blubber soot.
Accumulated blubber soot is the name of my new band. I call it.
The whalers sent a motorboat dispatch to go pick up McCarthy, McNish, and Vincent, and importantly, the James Caird.
They should have just made them wait until they could build a new boat out of seal brains and penguin tongues or whatever until they could pick them up when that
For
one.
97 hours, they stretched the tongues across 112 miles of rapist hurricanes made entirely out of knives and weather.
All right, so like these 6 guys are safe. They got to go rescue their buddies, right? But it takes them 3 months to rescue the rest of Shackleton's men because getting there was so fucking difficult. The seas were so impossible. It took 4 attempts with 4 different vessels to finally reach the men stranded on Elephant Island on September 3rd, 1916. And my fucking favorite part, every motherfucking one of those guys survived.
Okay, well then, this whole 2-part story was less dangerous than like a 9th grade social studies class at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. I don't know why we're lionizing these guys.
Fuck.
No, by the time this comes out, Cecil, it won't be too soon.
Well, yeah, it's
We'll
not too
record these in
soon.
advance.
I feel
let's
like
hold this out for several years.
they took 4 different attempts in 4 different boats to get to them. I feel like every time a boat fails to make the trip, it just feels Shackleton's disappointment and kills itself right there.
SS Bosnick 1 through 4. Yeah.
Well, one through 3. The last one couldn't have been called Bosnick if it succeeded.
This is fun.
All right. If you had to summarize what you've learned in one sentence, Tom, what would it be?
That every time I get ice from my freezer, I won't forget the brave men who discovered it.
Very important trip they made. Absolutely. So are you ready for the quiz from the panel?
Yeah, I'm all covered in seal blood. Let's do this thing.
All right. As
That's
usual. All right, I got a question for you here, Tom. Which of the following was not on Ernest Shackleton's James Caird mixtape? A.
Mixtape.
Oh, yeah, no, because they needed their tunes. A.
It's a road
Hazy
trip.
Shade of Winter. Was it B, George on My Mind? C, Ice Ice Baby?
Right, that's good.
Or, of course, D, The Seventh Seal.
I think it's E, Road to Nowhere by the Talking Sleds.
Oh God, I'm gonna go with Georgia on my
Georgia
mind.
on my mind is awesome.
Yeah, no, he didn't like the black guy music apparently. He had a thing.
Okay. What dangerous parts of the journey did Tom and Cecil leave out? Was it A, the killer whale attack at midnight? B, the Wolverines in the underwear drawer incident? C, the journey through the lava storm? Or was it D, the time God came down from heaven himself and tried to choke the life out of James Caird with his bare hands?
James Caird was a boat.
That's why I gotta go with that answer. It just didn't even listen to the thing. Didn't even read it.
Who are these people? James Caird was a name. Voyage of James Caird. James Caird. He's right at the top of the Google Doc. You don't fool me. Try to make me look silly. James Caird, first president of Antarctica. Most people don't know that. And apparently Georgia. I learned that today.
Yeah, no, he still could be.
All right, Tom.
Yes.
Question is, should you go to Antarctica? Is it A, no?
Can you repeat the question?
So we mentioned it earlier when we were talking about the Patreon stuff, but just take a second and think about those big-eyed seal veal that they were eating on that island. And just take a minute and sort of appreciate that. What was the best way that they could prepare those seals, Tom? A, pounded flat. That's like Wiener Schnitzel style. B, battered.
With an orange sauce.
C, buffet style.
Oh.
Or D, poached.
Oh. I like mine poached. I'm going poached.
I think you're right. It's poached. Tender meat.
Actually, it was probably battered if I think about it a little harder.
Oh, it was battered. You're right. I thought about it. I reconsidered. Noah, you're absolutely right. It was buffet style. Yeah.
It's like a well-oiled machine, this part of the show,
works.
right?
Judges, can we accept poached? No, it was battered.
Yeah.
You got it wrong. And Cecil is the winner.
And I'm going to pick Eli.
Damn.
So Eli, you're
Best
it. Next
friends always choosing each other better than sisters.
Eli was
Closer
supposed to
than
finish.
friends.
It has to say last week and didn't. Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna record
We're gonna
too.
record too.
Oh.
On Monday when I got locked out. I don't know if you remember, but
I
you
did
didn't.
not
Clearly. You didn't.
Best friends forgiving each other. Sometimes people forget their.
All right. Well, I'm going to toss it over to Sarah now for last week's Twitter answer and this week's Twitter question.
Thanks, Heath. Last week's assignment was write a haiku about the endurance expedition. The winner was Cindy Lynch on Twitter with this: I hate people who boldly go to frozen realms and then eat their dogs. This week's question is, if you had to roast a penguin, what would you stuff it with? Just retweet or Facebook share this episode with your answer for a chance to be next week's winner. Back to you, Heath.
All right. Well, for Cecil, Noah, Eli, and Tom, I'm Heath. Thanking you for hanging out with us today. We'll be back next week, and by then, Eli will be an expert on something else. Between now and then, you can hear more from Tom and Cecil on cognitive dissonance, and you can hear more from Eli, Noah, and myself on The Scathing Atheist, The Skeptocrat, and God Awful Movies. And if you'd like for us to not eat this puppy seal that I'm holding right now, you can make a per-episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, listen to past episodes, connect with us on social media, or take a look at the show notes, be sure to check out citationpod.com. Until all the people who can afford it start donating, we're going to murder a seal every 5 minutes.
Starting now. Okay, but what I'm saying is they didn't like count them, and they counted the
Okay,
Jews.
I'm not doing this with you. Absolutely not doing
Mr.
this.
Tom, no.
Whoa, Tom, Cecil, what are you guys doing?
Oh, hey guys. Well, after Tom and I got locked out of studio last week, we decided to make some changes to Glory Hole Studios.
Oh, the yoga studio.
Oh, okay, so you're smashing in all the doors of your building?
Well, not exactly. I told our landlord I'd smash in every door he ever touched.
Mr. Cecil, you must make him stop.
Okay. Cecil, I think that's the last of them.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
It's all broken. Mama's house in the old country, everything now.
You guys ready to record?
Yes, I am ready to record.
Mm-hmm. Ready to record.
Great, let's get started.
I got to ride a plane. I'm so stupid. Why am I?
Well, there's like 3 skits. Look at them. Jesus.
You
Yeah.
got
Fuck,
that
man.
one. I loved the idea of,
God
of
damn.
Cecil making Tom destroy the doors in their landlord's house in the old country.
So I'm going to tell you a no shit story. A no shit story. We show up at the studio and I come in, and as I'm coming in, I buzz myself in. There's like a little key fob. I buzz myself in. I pull the one door and I start to pull the other one, and it sort of locks a little bit. But wait a second, I put a little bit of pressure on it and it opens. It goes, and it opens. And so I come in and I come up to the studio, and Tom comes in and he doesn't say anything to me. And then we're leaving at the end of the night. It's midnight. And we're walking downstairs and the door's wide open. The door's just wide open. And I look and go, the fuck, the door's wide open. And Tom's like, yeah, it wouldn't open, so I just pulled it real hard. And Tom, no shit, just pulled the door so hard he broke it. Like he walked in and instead of like gently waiting for the door to sort of open, he just pulled it as hard as he could and he pulled it like right off its hinges. I'm not even like your skit is a real life thing. Like that actually happened.
I forgot. Hey, I could swear that's a Tom-shaped hole in the bricks right there. What?
No, they.
What did you do?
Painting right now.
You forgot him. You forgot, but it happened. But it happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just thought it was jammed.
Yeah, no, it was jammed. It was jammed, Tom.
locked,
It was
though.
jammed, Tom, but it was locked. That's the difference. It was jammed by
There was
the
a
lock.
little
is
metal
what the
bar at
difference
the
was.
top
Yeah.
holding it. So
It was
I
jammed.
chewed it with my teeth.
That's how doors lock, actually. They jam shut. That's how it works. Yeah.
Hey. It was locked.
It was. It absolutely was.
And then
And the next day, it was fixed. Huh. Go figure.
Nothing's
no more
locked
sticky
if you
door,
break
guys.
the metal apart.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
It was fixed.
Do you remember that time that lady asked me to turn that sign on?
We're in Michigan. We're hanging out, and this lady looks at us as we walk in. We're the first people in this bar. We're there early. She's this waitress, and she's actually a cute waitress. And she looks over at us, and she's like, "Hey, hon," one of those like, "Hey, hon," waitress things. Can you turn that sign on? And there's an open sign above the door, and there's a string, a little string, and Tom reaches up. And he grabs a little string and he literally pulls it as hard as he can and he snaps the chain off. He breaks the chain off of it. And Tom doesn't, like, the thing is, like, you got to understand this. Like Tom doesn't just reach up and just pull it and it breaks. Tom reaches up, pulls it, holds it, keeps pulling it until it's snapped. And I look at him and go, what the fuck is wrong with you? And he's like, I don't have an off button. I'm sorry. I'm like, neither does the light. She looked at you like
What
she
the
wanted to
fuck
kill
is
you.
wrong with-
It was the best. We didn't get a free drink there, it turns out.
I've broken so many things.
Tom's crying. He's laughing so hard.
Forgot about Fuck, I
Well,
don't.
you asked.
I
so
don't know. It is.
that-
Or it isn't.
Wait a minute.
Can I just? Okay. I'm gonna tape this, and I don't know if that exonerates
You can
me or not.
only ask that if you're fucking Tweedledee.
Oh, it's good. You broke Noah with that.
I feel like that should be the outtake. Just that, right? And let everybody wonder forever what the fuck he was talking about. You can only ask that if you're fucking Tweedledee.